Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Ryan Garcia defeats Javier Fortuna, the former WBA super featherweight champ, defeats him in 6 rounds, KO, 3 knockdowns. And even though the jury was sort of still out a bit on Garcia, because of his, the breakup with Eddie Reynoso and a bit of friction between him and Canelo, and I think he took some time out because of his mental health issues. He looked pretty good, and he's beginning to win me over because I thought this was a really good performance. Garcia is only 23, so to be thrust into the spotlight at such a young age, I can understand that it would have got to him psychologically. Maybe he needed that time out to just assess everything, to find out who he was, rediscover who he was, let the dust settle, maybe get a bit humble, maybe become a bit reflective. Maybe it was good that the brakes were put on the hype train for a little while after that Luke Campbell victory, because he seems to have come back very well, Garcia. And after that sort of time out, he fought Emmanuel Tago, battered him from pillar to post and won a 12-round decision. It never threatened to go 12 rounds against Javier Fortuna, who admittedly was a smaller guy, like I say, WBA super feather titleist. But Fortuna, at I think 33, 10 years older than Garcia, he was a wily, crafty veteran, and he showed it in the opening 3 rounds. Because Garcia came out really sharp. I mean, laser punches, very, very straight, accurate. And Fortuna didn't seem that fussed. It kind of contained him in one sense. It didn't allow him to get brave and to get too much on the front foot with Garcia, because I think a lot of people thought Fortuna would come out and really test Garcia, would come out banging, but quite the opposite was true. The opposite being Garcia was the one coming out looking to land the heavy early punches. Well, Fortuna did land a couple of overhand rights that landed flush on, well, maybe not flush, but they connected solidly against Garcia. And afterwards, Garcia said, yeah, the guy's got heavy hands. He does hit hard. And Fortuna coming into this fight was, 37 wins, 3 defeats, 1 draw, and 26 KOs. So he's got a bit of pop on his punches, albeit at a lower weight. But he kind of seemed to be waiting to get out of those early rounds, and then he was probably going to come on strong in the second half of the fight. That's always a dangerous game, because if you give away, whether you voluntarily or whether you're forced to give away the early rounds, it's still, you're reliant on dominating in the second half of the fight. But I could see what Fortuna was trying to do. He did not look intimidated for the first 3 rounds. He did look like he had some sort of game plan, even though Garcia was looking flashy and very much on top. In the 4th round, that definitely changed, because Garcia landed a left hook to the body, which Fortuna visibly winced at, more than winced. He's almost cried out and went down and took a knee. Spat his mouth, spat his gum shield out, gets up. Bit of extra time to put the gum shield back in. Bit of a finger wagging from the referee. Don't spit your gum shield out. The old veteran's trick. And he survives the round. In the 5th round, he was on the floor again, Fortuna. And this time it was from a left hook to what looked to me like the orbital bone. And I thought for a moment Garcia had busted his orbital bone. But gradually you could see that Fortuna, the resiliency, the self-belief was visibly draining out of Fortuna. He gets up and he does a little Roy Jones impersonation. This is in the 5th round. Hands very low, obviously to protect his ribs, but nevertheless, he was being flashy himself. Come and get me, jitterbugging a bit and the arms were down low. He was trying to sort of old man Garcia. And Garcia wasn't really having any of it. He stayed patient, which was, again, sign of maturity. I like what I saw there. And then the 6th round, actually between the 5th and the 6th, Fortuna's second said to him, look, you know, do you want to do this, or words to that effect? I forget the exact phrase they used, but it was like, you know, are you going to work with me? I think that's how they phrased it. And he was like, yeah, but he didn't look convinced. And sure enough, in the 6th round, when Garcia landed another left hook to the side of the head, down goes Fortuna, and he looked totally spent, mentally spent, as well as physically. He looked like, nah, this kid's too good. And I don't know whether he was counted out or whether he actually sort of quietly said to the ref, enough, but the ref waved it off. So a really good performance. And I regard this still as a sort of comeback performance for Garcia. Yeah, just very, very impressive. The kid's 23 years old. I see no, I always say this, don't I, with young fighters, but I see no reason to hurry him. Give him a chance. Just let him do his thing. This is his 2nd fight with Joe Goosen. And if I was him, I would stay nice and quiet, behind closed doors, working on my craft, get some more fights under your belt. Clearly, Goosen's happy with what's happening there. Progress is being made. This is good stuff. I would still say that defense for any fighter who has a very cavalier attitude is going to be, there's always going to be 1 or 2 little windows of opportunity for the opponent. But nevertheless, I think that Garcia, if he can just try to contain that exuberance, that youthful energy a little bit, become a little bit more crafty with his aggression. Don't let your hands go unless you've got an idea behind why you're throwing those punches. Tighten up your defence when your hands aren't moving. I think this kid could be, you know, very special indeed. Yeah, this is his career best performance. Yeah, maybe. But give him time, and I think this boy in 2 or 3 years will be a real threat. Look, Devin Haney was in the crowd. Well, not in the crowd. He was in the studio, and Adi Oladipo interviewed. This was over in America, but Adi's living the dream, isn't he? I mean, God, blimey. I remember him from the Box Talk days, but he was over there. He interviewed, briefly interviewed between rounds, Devin Haney. Devin won't give any credit to Garcia. There, well, I thought he'd have him out of there earlier. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay. Is Garcia ready for Haney? Haney himself, a very precocious talent. Then I don't think there's much difference in their ages at all. If they might be the same age, but personally, I would wait if I was Joe Goosen, if I was Garcia's training team manager. He signed to De La Hoya. I've got a feeling De La Hoya would want to put him in with Haney in the near future. I'd like to see 1 or 2 more fights for Garcia before that, though. But can he beat Haney? I would make Haney the favourite at the moment. I think Haney's much more crafty, more mature in fistic terms. But Garcia's getting there. So what did you think of the fight? It's on DAZN. If you got DAZN, go see it. I've yawned a few times during this video. That's because I've done the night shift. It's in the early hours of the UK, of course. But yeah, go and have a look. It's on DAZN. It's a good fight. I liked what I saw. Interesting. Leave your comments below, and of course subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you could just hit the subscribe button, that's a big help. And like the video, that always helps us as well. And thanks for your time. So until next time, as always, take care. Peace.